Welcome to PDR Tool Time. We want to take a moment to thank our sponsors that bring this great content to your listening ears week after week. B&D Tools, innovative PDR accessories for PDR professionals.
Edgy Tools, the king of PDR accessories that get the job done.
CBDdirectoils.com. It's not marijuana, kids. It's perfectly legal relief for all your aches and pains.
All right, welcome to another episode of PDR Tool Time. This episode is 191. I'm John Brinstrom alongside Vince D'Alessandro and Mr. Daniel Grom.
Hello.
Hey. What's happening, everyone?
It's been a great week.
Not a great week. I was going to say, it can't be a great week. What are we going to talk about? The first subject is going to be
why you need a office manager and never let them go on vacation. Ever.
Sucks poor to Daniel. Do it all yourself.
Poor Daniel, another rum and Coke.
Yeah.
Well, I think probably before we do that, we should maybe make a phone call.
Yeah, before we get into that, we're going to check in with Mr. Adam Williams at PDR World Cup and find out. I asked him 3 questions or 2 questions. I want 2 answers or 4 answers.
Make up your mind.
Never mind. We're just going to call him. So, Adam, PDR World Cup is coming up right around the corner here, and we wanted to touch base with him. And I wanted the top 3 reasons why to go to PDR World Cup, and we want a little bit more information about the competition as well. Right, guys?
Yeah, that's right. So let's see. We're going to be looking at like November 7th, 8th, and 9th, I believe, is the PDR World Cup. While we're waiting for Adam to get on. And then it sounds like now, if I'm understanding this correct, the winner of Las Vegas.
Oh, sorry.
One ringy-dingy. The winner of Las Vegas is going to try to capture that title in Branson as well. Yes,
I saw that as well. He just posted the other day on Instagram the winner, Mr. Manny's PDR in Southern California. He just signed up for the World Cup competition, and I believe we have Adam Williams on the phone right now. How you doing, Adam?
Good. How are you, Ben?
Not too bad. You're along here with Daniel Grom and John Renstrom.
Hey. Hi guys. How's it going?
We're just
awesome.
Good.
Just having a big party here, talking about PDR World Cup and everything coming up here.
Well, yeah. I think we got something exciting brewing.
Yes.
Well, we were just talking about Manny. If he wins the competition there and wins the one in Florida, he has the trifecta.
Yes.
Right?
He's going for the.
He's going to have to. Then he's going to need Germany and Japan.
Yeah. Shoot. He's going to have to do the world tour.
Yeah. Did you know that, Adam?
Oh yeah.
Adam. The winner from Vegas, Manny's PDR. Manny. He's coming out. He signed up for it. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, tell us a little bit about the competition.
The competition, guys, is going to be much like last year. For those that came, it's a multi-dent in one single panel. So what this is 3 different styles of dents, and they'll all be in close proximity to one another. That way it distorts the entire panel to where around you have to repair it. So it actually brings out the skill, multiple skill levels, other than just somebody that can fix one dent on one area of the panel, as opposed to somebody that's used to working with complex damage. So this brings out a higher level of skill to decide who's going to actually move further up the ladder, which would take the top 5 from that skill set and move on to a glue pull, which is like, to me, that's a very important part of a skill set of any dent guys to be able to glue pull as well. So that's something that has to be included in the deciding factor of who wins that competition.
Yeah, absolutely. So they qualify and then they move on to the final round, basically.
That's right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And that's going to take course over 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days time. And so here's how it's laid out. Friday is all competition day.
Uh-huh.
And then Saturday morning will be, for those that couldn't make it Friday, we'll have a 3-hour window for you to get in and do your part of the competition. And then that afternoon will be basically the playoffs. And so, basically a championship round, and then of course, award ceremony, and the champion will be crowned. But it's a kind of a 2 to 3 step process. It just brings out. I believe that we have to do that in order to find out who the best guy in the competition is. So that's just
so. Now, are you going all the way down the side like the other competitions? Fender, doors, quarter, or are you going to stick to only doors?
I am actually going to do only doors, and the reason why I'm doing that is so that we don't get into because these vehicles are like program vehicles that we're using,
right?
And so they're not brand new, but they are next to it, and I just don't want to sacrifice the integrity of the vehicle by the way of taking things apart that really somebody might slip up and not get something back where it should be. So we want to not sacrifice any of that stuff for future purchases of those vehicles. But as far as the competition side itself, just keep it simple and short and sweet.
Yeah, and is Jean? John, is he going to come and defend his title?
Oh yes, he is.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, he and I have been in some lengthy talks as of late, and he is super excited. He is. He's just like I'm. He reminds me of he remembers the days of Rocky Balboa back in the Rocky 2 and 3. I mean, this guy's literally got this hooded sweat blanket on, and he's running around with his gloves in the air, and he's doing the Rocky theme song right now. I'm telling you.
All right, yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask. Who's playing Eye of the Tiger as he comes in?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's got it in him. I'm telling you. So he's gonna be tough to beat.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, we were wondering. We don't want to keep you on too long, but the other thing that we want to know is what are the top 3 reasons why we would want to go to PDR World Cup if we were on the fence, thinking, hey, I want to go or I don't want to go. What are the top 3 reasons you'd say to come to PDR World Cup?
Okay, I would say I'd say reason number 1 is just, guys, this industry is on a steady, fast pace of change, and I just want everyone to understand that we are made up of industry group leaders, and so we are trying to stay in tune with everything that's changing within our industry, and so it's made up of the change. And so unless you want to kind of get left behind, or unless you don't really care to know, this is something that, the networking, all of that, yes, it takes place at these shows, but just to be in the know of what's to come. Our educational seminar packages are, they involve things that are very important, that are going to be happening very soon in the auto industry. So I urge everyone to take part in this and just understand that there's more at stake than just showing up and smoking a cigar and saying, "Hey, I went to a show."
Yeah,
there's so much more at stake.
Yeah,
sure.
Reason number 2 is, I would say, do it for your family. Let them see what the PDR industry is all about, other than just seeing pictures of you on Facebook with your buddies or hearing about it from a long distance. Bring the family. It's a family show, so there's going to be things there for everyone. And then number 3 is just for the love of the game. This is exciting. It's as this thing grows, it has so much potential to be like. I don't know. I don't want to make it bigger than it is, but it has so much potential to be, like a kind of like a Super Bowl thing.
Right.
It's just very cool, just to have a part in putting this thing together. So.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to even all the tool companies that are going. Seeing Dentcraft and A1. Hopefully, bless her heart. Hopefully Maria shows up. I'd love to see her.
Yeah,
Make sure she's all right.
Yep.
You know, and all the other companies that are coming, there's tons of them to list. But those are just a couple of Anson, of course. Anson's going to be there. We're going to be there with the IMI training on Thursday. So I encourage everyone. That's part of our education, working with these cars that are coming to us rapidly. And, you know, there's so many good things. And the camaraderie, you know, it's always great to hang out with Dent people. It really is.
It is. And you know, this industry's face is changing every day too. So there's some older guys that have kind of stepped back in the shadows a little bit. There's a lot of newer guys that are coming up, and these guys are the ones that's going to be leading our industry within just a very short period of time. So, I mean, it's good to stay in the know. It's good to keep those relationships building and growing. And as our industry changes, the iconic people in it may change some. Yep. So I think it's good that we all stay a brotherhood, you know, stay in contact with each other.
Yeah, I love talking to the younger people in our industry now. I mean, they come at it with such a different approach. A lot of them come at it with the business sense, where we were just like technicians, you know, we're like, we just fix dents and blah, blah, blah. Now, you know, the new guys, they come with a lot of business savviness.
Yep.
You know, it's good. It's good.
Well, and I want to add one more thing to that, and that is that, you know, without systems in place, like, Mobile Tech RX, without you know, DentMate or Dingsting or whatever system you use.
Yeah,
I think it's, you know, the leader is. I mean, the leaders in that part of the industry are pretty obvious. I mean, they're a great group of guys, and they're all trying to do the same thing, but they're helping our industry greatly. So if anybody out there isn't using a mobile estimating software, that's something that we'll talk about too in the seminars and education classes. But that's first and foremost, that has got to be what keeps our industry going in the right direction.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Adam. I mean, we had a Dent meetup here in at my shop a couple months ago now, and it was actually surprising how many technicians are still writing up cars, you know, manually and stuff like that, and leaving so much money on the table. You know, it's
you know, pen and paper is going away. People don't want to see it. I talked with a detail company a little while back, and she was like, "Well, do you really think a dealership wants to get an invoice on an email?"
Right.
I said, "Have you talked with your dealer at all?"
Yeah,
because
aren't they sending you invoices by email?
Yeah,
it's so much simpler.
Yeah, and you know, people still use fax machines, huh? Right? Come on, it's 2020. Let's go, guys.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm excited to see everybody there. Thank you for the phone call. And, I just urge everyone that can take place in your industry trade shows to get out and just go. I mean, you know, set some money aside as you're making those tens of thousands, you know, week by week on the hailstorms or whatever you're doing. Set a little bit aside and take your family and go to one of these. Just and go and enjoy it.
Yeah, and you know what? We really appreciate you putting this on, and we know it's a lot of work. You know, we've dealt with directors of trade shows in the past, and it's a ton of work, and we appreciate you putting this on for our industry. I know it's a lot of work, and you know, we need to go and support it. It's an industry thing. So thanks for coming on, Adam.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for having me. And if we can get together in the future and talk some more, I'd love to. And otherwise, I will see you all at the show.
All right, brother.
All right.
Okay.
See you later.
Hey,
okay.
Adam.
Bye. Good talking.
All right, bye now.
See you guys.
All right, that was Adam Williams, and go to pdrworldcup.com for more information and the hotel information and all that stuff. I believe the host hotel is almost booked, if not booked already. They were running out of space about a month ago. So look into that immediately if you are going that route. So,
yeah.
You know what? One of the things I'd like to bring up is what we're doing at Mobile Tech Expo is we're going to have a huge booth, and it's going to be the PDR Tool Time Playground, and we're going to have a couple cars there, and they're going to be demo cars. We're going to try to find cars with dents in them, actual real life dents, not have to put them in.
Ooh.
And we're actually looking for somebody to help us out in the Orlando area. So if you know me in the Orlando area, have them contact me and see if they can line us up some cars that we can bring in.
We should only need 2.
Yeah.
Because we'll have a van. We'll have the IMI hybrid car in the booth, and then 2 other cars that we could, and we'll be able to work on the hybrid car as well. And the van is going to be Chris Howe's Anson Tool van, and that thing's got a bunch of dents on it. So
that'll be a good one.
And
everybody loves to fix a Sprinter van.
Oh, yes.
But we're going to have a huge booth, and luckily we're going to be by the bar. Is that right?
Yes, we have a bar on each side of us.
So
I requested that. I requested it, and it came through.
Nice.
Good job.
Nice.
So it's going to be a place for everybody to hang out, share ideas, share techniques. If you want to do a specific demo, contact me and we'll sign you up and put you on we're going to put time slots basically for people to do specific things. So if you have something you want to show off, you're working with a tool company or something like that, give me a call and you can do a demo for new tools, techniques. Just be a general mentor to some of the younger guys.
Yeah. If you're a trainer,
it's kind of a free for all.
Yeah.
It's a free for all.
If you're a trainer, bring your trainees in there and show them off and show them what other technicians do. It's just going to be a love fest, a PDR love fest in the playground.
There you go.
Oh man,
yeah.
I don't know. You start talking like that, it sounds like I got to rub up against another dent guy, and then next thing you know, fires will start. It'll be terrible.
Don't make me throw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
So Daniel,
we've seen too much of that go on in the past. Hopefully not that one.
Yeah, Daniel. So it's time for you to cry a little bit. Why are you so sad this week and so tired and already on your second rum and coke?
So my Toni the Tiger is on vacation. My office manager, I call her Toni the Tiger. She's a sweetheart. She's been with me over 10 years. And she's the lifeblood of my business, really. And guys that are out there thinking about, starting a shop, in my opinion,
or buying mine.
Or buying business. This is the most important spot or thing to have in your shop. You're a dent guy. You make money pushing dents. If you're not pushing dents, you're not making money. So it makes sense to hire somebody at a lower wage than what you can actually make an hour to do all your estimating. And if you find the right person, if you do your due diligence and find the right person like I did, I took this gal, her dad owned an auto body shop. So she grew up in the auto body shop. So she was already a tomboy. I mean, her name is Toni. Her dad wanted a boy. And and she's a little firecracker. She's a little Italian lady. And, she's just a ball of energy. And
you don't realize how much somebody with talent in that office gets done.
Yeah. And believe me, we had some rough times with her, but over the time, I've smoothed all the edges out and really groomed her, and she's just fantastic. I mean, she gets all the money and then some. But she's sweetheart. Every time a customer leaves, they end up hugging her. She's like, I go, what's up with all the hugging? There's too much hugging.
Your repairs are second place to the office gal.
Yeah. And
Toni wins all the customers.
Exactly. And if you guys can find somebody like this gal, do it. She's also a bookkeeper, so she does my books, she does my estimates, she answers the phones, gets the people in, making the estimates happen. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes on.
Yeah, she keeps track of everybody, keeps track of the schedule, keeps track of all the money.
If you came and visited me, you would go, oh, is that the owner? Is she the owner? Because she acts like the owner. She bosses me around. She's like, hey, get off the phone. Hey, stop looking at Facebook.
You need that, though.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
She keeps me on task.
Well, that's like I'm your babysitter when we go to MTEs and stuff like that. It's like, come on, Daniel, let's go. I used to babysit Mike all the time, but Mike is now Mary comes to look after her husband.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Yeah, and that's something I don't have. And you're absolutely right. My income is hurt. and in the PDR sense, it's not hurt, but it is knocked down a little bit.
Oh, it hurts.
But the way that I supplement is by having the paint department. I make my money off the paint department. So, but if I had someone that sold PDR and bumper repair, then I'm sitting there working all day and making my money off the paint department, and they're doing their thing, selling and whatnot. So you're absolutely right, Daniel.
Having my wife keep track of all of the money, the parts, everything while I did hail cars, I mean, that freed me up just to keep fixing hail cars.
Yeah.
Come on, we're not good at that, guys. We're not good at the details sometimes,
Yeah.
Well, we think about is our repairs, man.
Yeah.
We get dents are in our heads.
And not only that, but we're too big as softies. It's like, okay, you got that dent that, it's big, but it's going to pop out. And it's like, oh man, I'll only charge you $150, where Toni the Tiger probably gets $580 for it.
Yeah.
Right.
She gets way more money than I do.
She's not emotionally invested in the money.
Exactly. She's just doing her job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
And okay, so where do you find this type of person? And my advice is to look at body shops and service writers. It doesn't have to be a gal; it can be a guy.
Or how about an adjuster that's like tired of
retiring
or adjusting?
Yeah, you take a guy like that's been beat up his whole life, and you put him in a PDR element where you're making customers happy. His head will spin.
Yeah, right.
Now I will say, Evan, I have seen it when it goes the reverse, and that is don't hire an ex-car salesman.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you don't want
like Daniel,
the suede shoe kind of guy.
Daniel's an ex-car salesman, though.
I am an ex-car salesman.
Yeah.
You weren't a good car. You weren't a good car salesman, though,
and
right?
Daniel knows he shouldn't be working the office.
Exactly.
Well, listen, to move on to the next thing, I wanted a cold call. I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but it's
this will be our first test.
This is going to be
we're going to call down under.
We're going to go down under because we do have a large listening population in Australia, and it happens to be 6:20 here on the Pacific West Coast right now, and it's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon next day, Friday, over there in down under. So
who are we going to call?
I wanted to call Anthony Carroll. And Anthony Carroll, if you guys don't know who he is basically like the Biggs or the Chris Howe of Anson Tool Vans. So he works for Mick Cross, and he distributes and sells tools out of his van. And I believe it's PDR Smart Tools, Australia. Yeah. Yep. So I wanted to give him a call just out of the blue, and I'm not sure if he's going to answer. But let's see how this goes. This could be fun.
Try this call. Vince is going to do this call through Facebook.
It's even ringing funny. I'll turn that down.
Somebody never.
Anthony Carroll.
How are you, mate?
Good. How are you?
Mate, I'm trying to keep the dream alive. It's challenging.
I'm sure. Hey, I have you. We're recording you right now for PDR Tool Time. We wanted to cold call you. I'm here with Daniel Grom and John Renstrom. Is that okay?
That's fine, mate. Yeah, not a problem.
Well, we figured, it's 7 p.m. over here in California, but it's 12 o'clock Friday in Australia.
Correct. Yes, 20 past 12 Friday afternoon.
Yes. So you're making your rounds today or no?
No, I'm actually preparing to do a road trip on Monday. We've had our season has started again, and last season hasn't even finished. Yes, it's crazy times. So no, I'm doing a trip about 5 hours north of Sydney. Is my destination on Monday. So I'll be leaving Sydney 5 a.m. Monday morning. I've got to pick up a couple of dent benches on the way through, and then I'll spend 2 days up around an area called Port Macquarie, which, as I said, is about 5 hours north of Sydney.
Oh, wow.
All right.
So what tools are selling there in Australia? Yeah. What's the hot ticket?
All right, the hot ticket. This year for this business has been an absolute boom. It's put our business on the market. Let's put it that side. Our sales have increased by over 150% from last year. Look, I'm just downstairs in the showroom now, and I'm looking at the tools that are hanging up on the wall.
Yeah.
The hot ticket, look, at day in, day out, your Dencraft race tools fly off the shelf.
Yeah.
Your Finesse Mark Surface rods.
Okay.
Just come and go. Can't keep stock up of those. The Ultra Dent pick set. I'm just looking. I'm out of a couple of the lines there. The dent roofers have gone well this year.
Oh, nice.
You know, and then look, whale tails. I could sell just whale tails and make a living out of whale tails.
Really? That's amazing.
Huh.
Well, you're gonna have to. Have to get some of my new balloon tips down there.
Yeah. And the latest thing, sorry, I'm just looking. We've just got in a full range of the dead center tips from tabs, I should say, from Kiko.
Yeah,
and
those are great.
I got a big order only a week and a half ago, and I already have to reorder. So I'm just walking around the showroom now. I've just got my first batch of blem tools. I've never carried blem before, and that's I've got to hit the market with those.
Those should go pretty well.
Those are good.
Those are good tools.
Yeah.
Now, Anthony, I know we barely get a chance to talk whenever you're MTE, you're a busy man. You're going around and you're seeing what's hot, what's new, and what's working, and you're a busy man, and I appreciate that because you're a man of action.
I try my hardest.
Now, would you say the majority of the guys out there are you catering to the hail technicians or the door dingers, or is it just a mixed bag out there?
Interesting. Yeah, good question. 3 years ago, it'll be the 3rd of November this year. It was 3 years ago that I first hit the road. Mike Cross, as you know, he was the one that gave me the opportunity for this.
Yeah.
And Mike had the vision, and he said, listen, go and buy some Dencraft tools and Pro PDR lights and a trailer. No one 3 years ago had been visiting hail sheds. So my first experience, and look, I'm still only a baby in this game. 3 years ago, a whale tail was something that I saw in the ocean.
Right.
I had no idea that there was such a. I had no idea about paintless dent repair 3 years ago. No, I didn't even know the industry existed.
Oh wow!
It now feels like I've been in it my whole life, and So my first exposure to the market was hail techs, and I didn't know any more than that. What's happened over that time, one thing I did recognise very early in the piece, and this is more from a business point of view, is that I couldn't have all my eggs in the hail basket. So
good thinking.
We've been active in promoting through trade shows and so forth here in Australia, the Kiko, we were calling it adhesive collision repair. They're now calling it glue pulling collision. So we've been chipping away at the panel shops for the last 3 years, and that's gathering more and more momentum.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
What's gone on this?
That was my question.
Yeah. Well, it's you had a good meeting actually with Chris over in Vegas about forming even a closer partnership between the two of us, because I see that's where the growth will really come from in the future is the panel shop market.
Sure.
Hail when it hits like it did this year in Sydney, and for your information, we're talking about I think in excess of 100,000 cars needed to be repaired in Sydney this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's been a massive year, and the fact that the hail hit in Sydney in my backyard was a godsend for this business.
Oh, absolutely.
The exposure that I've experienced this year because of the storms being in my backyard, it would have taken potentially another 2 to 3 years to get this exposure.
Uh-huh. Now, do you find people stopping you on the street and asking you to buy tools to try and fix their own cars? Because that happens over here all the time.
Look, we've had some. Yeah. Look, we've had people. Yeah, you pick them straight away, and they're ringing up and asking you about glue. I actually had two guys on the phone, and they were very serious, and I still so very vivid in my mind. They thought they could buy a Wayo each and travel the world.
Oh, just with the hot box, huh? The Wayo.
Just with that, nothing else. And they were serious. These two guys. A couple of mates, and I thought, good on you. You're having a go, but it's just not going to work, guys.
Sure.
Needless to say, I never heard from them again.
Yeah. Well, at least you're honest enough not to sell them a tool, right?
Look, I have a lot of people, even panel shops, walking in here on a daily basis saying, I want to start a kit. And as soon as I hear those words, I think they've got no idea what they're after here. And I was at prior to moving to this location, the panel shop owner walked in with three of his panel beaters, asked that question. And I said, so where are you guys at? What skills have you got? What are you trying to, ask them those sorts of questions. And as it turned out, there was a PDR tech downstairs working on a hail car. And I went down, I said, can you just have a chat to these guys? And that chat lasted for about 40 minutes. And they came back into the showroom, and the owner of the business, out of gratitude, spent $200 with me because he realised what he first came in for.
Yeah.
That they weren't at a level to even consider it. And
way in over
I'm
their
too
head.
honest. Yeah, exactly. And that's I'd suggest this year it's been certainly a weekly occurrence. At times it's a daily occurrence. People walk into the showroom here, and as soon as they ask that question, I had a guy in the other day, the Boilermaker, wants to get out of boiler making, and he starts talking, price and money, and I said, look, mate, I said, you've got to stop thinking about it as what it's going to cost you. This is an investment in your future.
Yeah.
And I said, minimum, you're talking $5,000 of tools, a decent light, a dent bench. And then I said to him, look, what you really need to be doing is getting trained.
Mm-hmm.
To get the tools, get some decent training. I've actually been putting a lot of people that are, I've actually been putting a lot of people, and I'm sure the guys at Dent Trainer have noticed it. I've been saying to people, instead of coming and spending a couple of $1,000s on tools, why don't you subscribe to this Dent Trainer, see what it's about, and then if you think it's what you're after, well, then come back and talk to me. So,
oddly enough, Anthony, we get a lot. I could see the analytics with our podcast, and we have a large listening audience in Australia. That's why I wanted to call you up and pick your ear for a minute and get some information for our Aussies that are listening, and some Americans too, because you do get a lot of Americans over there working, especially during hail season.
Let me ask you this: is there some training centers in Australia?
There are. There's a number of people that do training. There's a company up in Queensland called the Dent Academy who I supply the tools to. There's another company called Dent Black Magic. He does one-on-one training. He offers, whether it be a 2, 3, 4, 8-week course. Then there's a lot of individual technicians that will do training. It's one of those areas that this year, and what happens is that when you have a storm of this size, a friend of a friend hears what can be made pushing dents, and the problem is a lot of people are after the quick fix.
Sure.
They think they can go and buy a couple of $1,000s worth of tools and earn a couple of $100,000. It just doesn't work like that, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So yes, there is training. That there's several companies. There's some very good companies, and there's some very poor companies. But that's life and that's business.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Now you guys,
you got people.
You guys actually have a fixed location. I thought you drove around in a van, but you have a fixed location now, huh?
No. Yeah, we got a fixed location, and I've always had a base, but primarily, Sydney, because it's been in my backyard, I haven't had to travel as much. I'll give you an example. The first 3 months of this year, we were open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
We had people in here 7 days a week, and there were 2 instances, and I'll never forget it. I've turned up here at 6:30 in the morning, and there's been technicians waiting for me to open the doors.
You were telling me that.
I had another occasion on a Saturday. I had 8 people in here, and every conversation was on Google Translator. Not one of them spoke a word of English.
Where were they from?
German, Italian, Chinese, believe it or not, Brazilians. Yeah, so Chinese, Brazilians, Germans, and Italians. And I'm walking around here, and it's all on Google Translator. And my business is to get people in to sell tools. And I can be quite honest and say, during that period of a couple of hours, I just wanted them to go. It was too hard. It was like, here I am wanting people to come in, but then I'm in this position where I'm thinking, I wish they'd just go.
Right.
Just leave me alone.
That's when you call up Mick and say, hey, Mick, get down here and give me a hand.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But yeah, this year's been, this place has been like the United Nations. We've had people all over the world. And the interesting thing is, obviously the prices that we're, the suppliers in the States have been fantastic. I'm only as good as them. It's as simple as that. If I don't have the support of your Dentcrafts and Carbon Techs and Ultra Dents and Pro PDR, I don't have a business.
Right. Yeah.
And I get some good volume discounts, and what I've been able to do is really get my shipping prices down, because that's been a big bugbear of the guys over here is, they buy a $200 tool and it costs them $1,000 to get it shipped.
Oh, of course.
And I understand that too. I mean, the American market is much larger than ours, and we're a bit of a, as we like to say over here, a piss in the ocean compared to the size of the market over there. And I've got my shipping rates, down to a really good level, and we've had a lot of people, internationals, call in here before they go home and spend up big, because they recognise the price with the exchange rates and things like that they buy their tools from in Australia is far better than buying them when they get back home, wherever that may be. And I've also provided the service to a number of guys where I've sent a couple of 100 kilos of tools back home for them. But, that's what it's all about, is just providing a service so they remember you and they keep coming back.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And we don't have too much time to talk, Anthony. So
you're right.
But I did want to at least talk to you. And I know, one of my questions is, the international travelers, they generally don't travel with tools, right? They're not allowed to. I would
Correct.
think that they show up there and then they have to go see you or another supplier and supply themselves.
Supply. Yep.
So
that's correct. Yep.
And you've probably met, Luke Price. Luke Price is a friend of our show, and
yes, good guy, Luke.
Yeah, you got to work with him, and he was actually supposed to be on this week, and he got hit with the hailstorm somewhere, and he disappeared. So, politely disappeared.
Fair enough.
But he had to go make money instead of coming on with us, which we all understand and appreciate. But it is one of those great unknowns, because a lot of people talk about going to Australia and working there and not knowing what to do and showing up with nothing and a promise of a job and no tools to start with. And it was always my understanding that it was very difficult to work in Australia. You had work permits that were more serious over there than we let anyone in this country, obviously. But you guys definitely have different standards, and the way that the body shops work, they get the cars and then it goes to the PDR technicians, I'm guessing, is from what I've been
correct.
told. Now,
Are you guys open for Americans coming over and working? You feel like
look,
you have to get your
look, definitely. of course, again, if we go back to the size of the market, it's like this year was the largest storm that I believe has ever hit Australia this year, and we don't physically have enough technicians to do the work. And if we go back a step, this industry is pretty well driven by the insurance companies here in Australia. So their expectation on the hail companies, like your Smart Repairs, your Australasian Hails, Action Smart Groups, Wizard Automotive, is that, we want to keep our customers, our policyholders happy. So we need the process of assessing the car, bringing the car in, repairing the car to a level that I understand is far greater than anywhere else in the world. The quality checks on a car that is being completed is just out of this world. The assessors,
I've heard that,
will take off. Yeah, the assessors will actually take off hood linings or bonnet linings and check the holes where you've put your tool in to make sure they're not ripped.
Yeah.
What we've sold a lot of, there you go. What's been a hot product? Hole straighteners.
Yeah. Oh,
I can walk around. I can walk around a hail shed with 60 guys working in it, and I'll sell 60 hole straighteners.
Holy
because
moly.
that's the expectation.
Well, which one are you selling the most of?
Look, there's a couple of guys. Yeah, good question. A couple of guys had made their own out of what do you call it? I can't even think now.
There's one that comes from Australia. I've seen one from Australia.
Yeah, there's two. There's the yellow handle one from PDR Essentials.
Yeah.
Then there's another orange handle one. The VIP one's been going very well. Look, the Kiko one's been going well.
Uh-huh.
Look, you know what this game's like. Everyone's got an opinion.
Sure.
On everything. From
I like the Kiko. The Kiko one is really, really good, but I also like Stuckey's. The Stuckey one. Stuckey has one that locks, like a channel lock, and so
correct.
you can pull it for, like, if you've got a hole that you need to straighten out and you need to pull it a little bit, you can do that with his, which is kind of unique.
Yeah, well, I met Carl over in Vegas, and I'm about to place an order for his. So basically, I've look, this year there's been half a dozen or so different hole straighteners I've sold, and sometimes it's just what I've got. That's been my challenge this year, is keeping up stock levels.
Sure.
But getting back to your question, Americans, a storm of this size, they need internationals. They need people, because there's just not enough people to do the job in the time that is expected from the insurance companies. And the big hail companies, the ones that have got the contracts, they need to sponsor those people on certain visas to come over here. So the criteria is something that I don't obviously get involved with, but I know enough about it.
Yep.
That, yes, you need to have the right visa. You need to be sponsored by the company that's going to be paying you.
Yeah.
And it can be difficult. And then you do get people that just turn up from around the world that don't have visas and are risking, risking not being paid, risking a whole range of things. But that happens everywhere. So, good luck to them if they've got the balls to jump on a plane full of tools and say, well, we'll see what happens. And I met quite a few this year that did all right.
Yeah. So that would be your advice, is to make sure that you are sponsored by a company. That way you're protected a little bit, and
you're protected. That's right.
And you're not going to get deported.
And look, exactly. And look, these big hail companies, the ones that I've mentioned, your Action Smart Groups, your Wizards, your Smart Repairs. I think Smart Repair this season, employed over 300 people.
Wow.
Across 4 locations. That's not all tech. That's the administration staff, the customer service staff.
Sure.
Oh, it was huge.
And then obviously the tech. Yeah, it was. And what I have picked up on is that running a storm like this, at the end of the day, it's really not about pushing hail. It's about managing humans.
Right.
And you can imagine what that's like. It's really, really difficult for those organisations to keep everyone happy.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And, you want to keep some sort of peace in the place, because you only need a couple of bad eggs in a shed of 50 or 60 that can rock the whole boat, and then it doesn't become pleasant. It doesn't become pleasant at all.
Yeah.
But that would be the recommendation. Yeah, would be to make sure that they, talk to the major hail companies. That would be my starting point, and see if they've got openings. Because what they will do is they've got some very loyal local technicians, and they're obviously the first port of call when a storm hits, is to get the guys in that are local.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yep, makes sense. Well, Anthony, I think we're gonna about run out of time here, so we're gonna have to let you go.
That's
but
cool.
We really appreciate you answering and taking the time to come speak with us here today.
Yeah,
so.
And if you don't mind, we'll call you in the future. We'll call you in the future as well.
Anytime, and Daniel, we're working towards the motorcycle tank expo or whatever we discussed. We want to get that going as well.
Yeah, Daniel stepped away for a second. His wife was yanking him out of the screen.
Okay.
So but we'll relay the message to him as well. I just love this modern technology. Yeah. Here we are, in different time zones. John, he's over in somewhere.
So,
I don't know where he is. He's in South Dakota. We're in California. And, you're in Australia, and it sounds like you're right next door. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? The world's getting smaller.
It sure is.
It is indeed.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Anthony, and we'll chat soon again.
My pleasure, guys. You take care.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
See you, Anthony.
Bye now. Well, that's awesome.
Right. Dude,
he
I
answered.
love just hearing his voice, man. It's just like
you stepped away for a second there, Daniel. He is planning on getting the motorcycle repair going as well. So.
Yeah.
He'll be back in contact with you.
Well, that's it. We have gone truly international, gentlemen.
Right?
It was a monument. And Hudson, that little sucker, wasn't even around.
No, he's too busy watching his baseball team in the game 5 right now.
Houston getting their butts whooped.
Yeah,
I don't have a clue what's happening.
No, I think they're winning. But
you know what? let's put it out there. If you're from some other country and you want to come on the show, let's talk.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah.
You got something interesting to say, call us.
Yeah.
Now that was over Facebook Messenger too. So we don't have to use anything but Facebook.
Yeah, and that was perfect quality right there. And we know we have an international crowd. And England right now, you guys are all asleep while we're recording. But Australia, we'll go to Australia. And if you want to burn the midnight oil and talk to us from Italy or Germany, just make sure we don't have to use Google Translate to talk to you.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I've been in that position that Anthony was talking about when we were in Japan. We were having dinner, and there was 5 languages sitting right in one corner of the table, right where I was at. It was crazy going through Google Translate.
Do you guys just not talk at all and just eat your dinner and get out of there?
No. We all talked. You'd pass your phone. You would type what you wanted to say and let Google Translate do it and hand the phone off, man. And
it's rough enough rough enough that you'd understand.
Yeah, but that was a little more relaxed. I can't imagine it in Anthony's position. We've all been, think about the times we've been in Anson's during the Anson open house and how crazy that is.
Oh, yeah.
Now throw in 5 languages.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because I always find it fascinating to find out what the market is like, and like what's it like in Japan, what's it like in Germany, what's it like in Czech Republic or whatever.
Well, 2 years ago Japan didn't have one, and now it has exploded.
Well, we could always call up Igor. He's over there in Japan, right?
Yeah, actually, he just headed home, I think, to Croatia. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Let's see. What time is it in Japan? Okay, it's 10:47 in Japan. So,
that's not too late.
So 10 a.m. So it's the next day already. So yeah, we'll find someone in Japan that speaks English, and call. All right, cool. Well, listen, this is a wrap up the show. This was episode 191. We want to thank all our listeners that tune in week after week. And if you don't tune in week after week, you don't know what you're missing. It's always a lot of fun. So, Daniel, what do you got to say?
Get a bench grinder and level up your tools. I just say it once.
I know, but I had the volume down.
I know.
Don't do stupid stuff.
And keep it stiff.
For current discount codes, visit PDRToolTime.com with sponsors like Hog Glue and Hog Paths, making your job easier. Found at HansonPDR.com.
Magnatech Mat, magnetic utility tool mat. Version 2 is now available.
And Mobile Tech RX, the app that makes you money.